I don't need to see your highlights. Highlights are fine. They're good. They have their place. But send me some unedited video because I want to see when you make errors, what do those look like?
Yeah.
And how do you respond? Because that's really important.
A full set.
Yeah. A full set
Maybe
would be
not so
great.
much a 5-setter game, but maybe
A full set, though, with some live play is really helpful.
where
And
you're making 10, 12 touches in a set. If you're a
mhm,
setter, there's 30.
there's a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it helps because you really do want to see what happens when they make an error. Why did they make the error? But also how they respond to it.
Welcome back to the Significant Recruiting Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Rogers. On the coaching episode, we talked about Juniata's 3 straight NCAA championships and how Heather Pavlik has built one of the most remarkable dynasties in college volleyball. Today, we shift the focus to recruiting. Coach Pavlik has seen it all Americans, National Players of the Year, and young athletes who have come to Juniata and grown into champions. In this episode, she shares what she really looks for in a recruit and what parents need to understand and why Division III opportunities like Juniata can be life-changing. And if you're on this recruiting journey, don't forget to check out my book, Significant Recruiting, the playbook for prospective college athletes, and its companion book, The Volleyball Recruits Journal, at CoachMattRogers.com. All right, let's get into it. Here's part 2 of my conversation with Juniata head women's volleyball coach, Heather Pavlik. Coach Pavlik, I want to dive into recruiting with you. I asked you about how you handle practice planning. Now I want to talk about recruit planning. What does that look like? Because you told me 11 o'clock, you bring your staff in to talk practice planning. What does that recruit planning look like?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's more free form. I don't think it's as formal. I think Casey and I actually have an office where we share a door between us. So we basically have an open office for the two of us. And Aaron has a table in my office. So we're all here all the time together. And so I think it's a little more organic when it comes up. We split it up by position. Casey will handle maybe anyone who passes the ball, the outside hitters, the liberos, the DSs. I handle recruiting, setters, opposites, middles. And so we just compare notes every single day. Hey, I talked to last night. Here's how it went. Here's our depth chart. Here's where we're at. Or, hey, somebody decided to go elsewhere. How does that change what this looks like now based on what we need? So it's pretty organic and happens daily.
An actual board? Do you have a recruiting board or do you have it
Yeah,
on?
I like visual things. So
Me too.
I make a recruiting board on my computer so that I can see and I can move people and do that kind of stuff. I think Casey does it his own way, and I am perfectly fine with however he wants to do that. I think whatever works best for him is what I want him to do. Erin's great about jumping in, and if she's seen someone at a tournament, because she coached club, so she would see people. But it's very organic. We talk about it daily, and I think we talk about what we really need versus some numbers. And the school will talk to us a little bit about numbers they'd like to see from us too. I think in any Division III department, you are an extension of the enrollment and the enrollment building and the enrollment staff. And we talk a little bit about that. But I think overall, we are very much all on the same page all the time, which is great.
That's awesome.
And we just don't recruit people unless we can see them at some point. I feel like it's tough to do. Yeah, it's very tough to do from video. So see them live.
But let's get into video just because I know you're getting bombarded with it. How often are Casey or Aaron coming to you and saying, hey, watch this film. I want you to see a kid.
Every day. Every day we're trading films back and forth.
Yeah.
I'll get some, and if it's an outside hitter, I'll say, hey, Casey, take a look at her. I like her, but what do you think? Or he says he gets a middle, he gets an email from a middle, he'll shoot it my way so I can take a look at it. But I think it's daily, many of them daily.
I was just talking to the coach at Virginia Wesleyan softball, and while we were having our conversation, I think he got 28 recruit emails, just 28 recruit emails.
Oh, I won't be surprised if I have that many when I get off of this Zoom.
How are you dealing with that? How are you disseminating all that information?
I think we try to respond to as many of them as we can because they need to make decisions too. And if it's somebody who isn't a great fit for us, I think we try to say, hey, we might not be the right fit right now based on who we have in this position. But if you want some thoughts on what the video looked like and who you might want to talk with, let us know.
Yeah.
Because you want to help them get to the right places.
I'm a big believer that's a huge role of as us as college coaches, because we are the master coach and master teacher of that community, whatever we're in. And there's so many coaches, there's so many families that are just looking because they have no idea how to evaluate
Agreed.
themselves. So they rely so heavily on us to just give them a sense. Are they on the right page? Are they moving in the
Mhm.
right direction? Should they be going a different direction? And it's so hard now. 20 years ago, I would get a VHS tape in the mail 3 or 4
Yep.
times a week. And then it became CDs. Now it's so easy to send an email, and everybody's been taught this is how you do it. I don't know how you do it anymore. I don't know how is there
It's
something
tough.
is there something you're seeing in the subject line that may go, I'm gonna take a look at that one.
Uh, not necessarily in the subject line because you get a lot of different
Six
things.
four 4.0. Yeah,
That helps, but even that you need a lot more information there because also 6'4" sometimes means 6'1",
that's
and
right.
sometimes 6 foot is 5'10". So you got to do your homework there too. But I think that somebody who maybe within the first line of an email knows a little bit about why they want to look at you.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, I say you have a great environmental science program. That's what I want to study. And I've played for this club. And I talked to someone at my club and they said, you really should talk to Juniata.
Yeah.
Now I'm okay. This piques my interest because there's reasons why they're sending an email. It's just not, they're not just bombing 200 different programs. But even those who are bombing 200 different programs with emails, if they're not right for you, it's easy to say, hey, we might not be the right fit for you, but let me know what kind of school you're looking for, and I'll try to maybe point you in the right direction because we know so many coaches, and
Yeah.
you want to get them to the best person you possibly can.
Absolutely. Do you like having a link that you can click where you can see video, you can see schedule, you can see classes, you can see grades,
Yes. Yep.
parent
Yep.
information?
Very helpful because you can figure out very quickly then, is this person definitely someone we're interested in? Is this someone who would not fit at all? Or is this someone in the middle that maybe we could see live sometime and decide?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all those links are very helpful.
I have a very rocky road history with recruiting services. So I can go to, gosh, it's so necessary. And what I try and teach families is you don't necessarily have to pay for a recruiting service, but to
Agreed.
have something online that a coach can go, where was that email? They don't have to do that. They can go, oh, I already know your name. I can go to that site and just throw in your name and I can see what your new film is. I don't have to worry about you sending me a new email every time you have a new film. Is that helpful for you?
Yeah, I think it is. And I think I say the same thing to people when I talk to parents or club directors or anybody about recruiting services. Yeah, sure, you can use it if it makes your life easier and the money's not a problem for you. But there's some families who can't do that.
That's right.
And I just say, listen, send the people you're interested in email, tell them what you want to study, attach some video, and please attach some unedited video. I
Yes.
don't need to see your highlights. Highlights are fine, they're good, they have their place. But send me some unedited video because I want to see when you make errors, what do those look like?
Yeah.
And how do you respond? Because that's really important.
A full set.
Yeah, a full set
Maybe
would be
not so
great.
much a 5-setter game, but maybe
A
a
full
full
set, though, with some live play is really helpful.
where you're
And
you're making 10, 12 touches in a set. If you're a
mhm,
setter, there's 30.
there's a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it helps because you really do want to see what happens when they make an error. Why did they make the error? But also how they respond to it.
Yeah. I've been having this conversation a lot because I got in this argument at a club prep school coach. I don't usually get on the internet and social media and get upset about anything. It's a rule that I don't do that. But this guy really upset me about D3 coaches making offers. He was upset that a D3 coach made one of his kids an offer. He goes, "How can they call it an offer when there's no scholarship attached?" What does an offer mean to you?
An offer just means you're offering a roster spot. That's it.
But there's great value to be a member. I'm being asked by
Agreed.
Juniata Volleyball to come
Agreed.
be a part of their program. And I
Agreed.
and I get to get a great education, and I get to be a part of a team where maybe 93% of the high school kids in the country will never get to be a part of that college team.
Yep.
An offer from a D3 coach to me is huge.
Yeah. And I think in this day and age, you have to use that word a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You have to use that word because it's what they're used to, it's what they're looking for. So I try to make sure before someone leaves here on a visit, if it's someone we really want, hey, I just want you to know I'm making this offer to you that if you want to come here, you've got a roster spot, period. And if we're not sure, then you don't make that, right? Yeah. But you want to make sure they know that you want them and there's a place for them.
That's right. Yeah. And that's all it needs to be.
And whether you use the word offer or not, but let them know you want them and that, yes, if you decide to come here, there's a roster spot for you.
Yeah. It's just what you said. We really want you here, but you've got to want to be here. But we're not telling everybody else we want them to be here. We're telling you that we'd like you to be a part of it, but this has got to be the right fit for you. You've got to feel that this is the place where you can grow and we can make the most of you.
Absolutely.
It's just so important that kids hear that. And if you're not getting an offer, this is, hey, we're not going to offer you, you know, we've got 4 outsides. We got 3 setters. We're good. I just don't have another spot for you.
Or maybe a great player that you really want leaves here and thinks you feel ambivalent about them in some way.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You want them to know exactly how you feel about them.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk a little bit about what gets you excited when you see a recruit. Because I loved Olivia, the way we talked about this in the first episode, how you approached Olivia when you were recruiting her. And I was like that because for me, when I realized I wanted a kid, it's when I was already thinking about how I was going to coach them, when I couldn't stop thinking about how I could make them better, I knew I was locked in. Is there something similar for you when you watch a kid play that triggers you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I go, oh yeah, I want this person is that competitive piece, right?
Yeah.
Because we want to win here. We want to win. We want to compete for national championships. We want to be spoken about in that top grouping of teams in the country all the time and position ourselves that way. And I think the number one thing you have to be is competitive. Yeah. You have to be a great competitor. And so when I watch a player, you can see their skills easily. That's the easy part. I think the first thing that draws me in is the competitiveness. And maybe that's how they respond after an error. That's what I'm saying. Show us more. I think that is really important because great competitors want the ball right back. They want the ball right back. They want to touch it again. And they're not afraid of making another error. They just very aggressive and go after it. And I love seeing that. I think that draws me in immediately. I think somebody who is really good with their teammates. And when I say that, I don't mean just, oh yeah, you're great. Who will walk over to a teammate who's struggling, put an arm around her back, and maybe give her a kick in the rear when she needs it. Because both things are valuable. Who understands how to deal with other people and has a really good emotional intelligence about the people around them.
Yeah. You just can't have enough kids that have it in them that by the time they're sophomores or juniors, they're going to stop a practice. Say, this isn't good enough. It doesn't have to be you. They've got it in them to say, we're better than this. Yes. They can say that out loud, or you're better than this, or I got to be better than this.
It's so cool when it's not the same person all the time. We've had that happen a number of times over the past couple of weeks, and it was different people in the group. And I thought, okay, this is coming together nicely. This is good. This is really good.
It's lovely. I'm going to keep bringing back Olivia here because we had such a good conversation about this. I was really impressed with, we talked about visits when kids come to visit you guys and you play. And she just said, she goes, I probably wasn't that person that coach wanted me to take somebody on a tour or take them to the room. But we had 4 or 5 girls that were really great at that.
Self-awareness is a big deal.
I just can't get enough of this kid. Where are you with that when you have a kid come in? Typically, you want them to play with the girls in the off season, I would imagine.
We don't. We don't.
Okay.
We have them stay with them.
You've seen enough. Now let's see how they react and how they.
And the only time they'd be able to do that anyway is when they're playing on their own. Because when we're in our training block, they can't. It's illegal.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is, and I love what Olivia said there because she's 100% right. She's pretty hardcore, and I don't know that she would have wanted to keep people. And I think that's the biggest thing, first and foremost, if we're going to ask you to keep a recruit, you have to be somebody who wants to keep a recruit.
That's right.
If you're someone who doesn't want to be around other people very much and don't like to be around people you don't know, not a good candidate for that. So yeah, I think you figure out pretty quickly who the people on your team are who love doing that and enjoy it. Because if they enjoy it, the recruit's going to have a better time anyway.
You don't have to use names or anything, but do you have certain players that you count on to give you their opinion of that visit and what they thought of that girl?
Yes. And you're right about that. It's not everybody, but
right.
there are a couple people, yeah, we can go to and say, okay, how did that go? What did you think?
Yeah.
And most of the time, I must say, most of the time it goes very well. And they're like, she was really nice, or she was a little quiet. But then when it was a smaller group and it wasn't 18 people in her face, she was actually really good one-on-one or in a small
Yeah.
group, because they're going to learn things that we're not going to, that recruits are going to share things with them, are
Yeah.
going to do things with them that they're probably not going to share with us. And so I think the players are invaluable. And then every once in a while, you get one, not often, where the players come in and say, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And here's why. And that's what I want to know. Why?
Yeah.
What was it that didn't sit right with you? And that's where you have to be careful about who you're talking with, right? Because teams need different personalities. They need different kinds of people to be diverse and successful. And we get players from all over the country with all kinds of different backgrounds, different places. But why did it not go well? And there's a few things that they'll say where you go, okay, I agree with you. We're gonna back off that one. I'll let her know.
Yeah. I remember I had a senior captain that would come in and just say, Coach, I know you brought this kid in. I know you really like him, but here's a couple things I saw that I'm really worried about. And he was never going to play with this kid. Like, he was going to be long gone, but he would say, I don't think he fits our team. And I don't think he fits our culture. There's some things that he said that I just turned me off. And I love that. I just love hearing that, because how are you going to know that when you've seen a kid play twice in a game and you like their attitude but you don't know who they are when they step off the court?
We had a captain the last 3 years, Abby Tellez. She was a captain her sophomore, junior, and senior. So voted as a captain as a sophomore. So I think that says something right away.
That's a ton. Yeah.
Very mature. And I talked a little earlier about that emotional intelligence. I think that was her superpower. Amazing with people. She understood people's motivations. She understood the differences with people. So she's someone we could always go to, whether it was something inside the team or whether it was with a recruit who came, hey, how did that go? And how was she? And I always very much trusted the answers I got there, because Abby was always on point.
So nice to have. It goes back to recruiting. You want to recruit those kids. You want to recruit those high EQ kids.
And she always had the team's best interest. Very selfless human being.
Yeah.
And she would be thinking about the future, and she cared about whether she might never play with this person, but she cared about whether the program was getting a good person.
Yeah. You've been at the point where you probably have, on an average year, tell me if I'm wrong, I would say 5 or 6 kids that could probably play D2 or higher.
Absolutely.
Without it.
I think most of our roster.
Yeah. Most of our, okay. Where are you at with recruiting kids that want that D1, want that D2? That's important to them. You can probably give them more outside of that dollar amount that they're hunting for, that label that they're hunting for. How do you handle that?
Yeah, I think that's the norm for us, actually. That's where we live in the recruiting sphere. So I think we do that on a daily basis. And I think the biggest thing is to get them to see us play somehow, whether they come in to watch a match or whether they look up an old video somewhere online. We're playing at a really high level, and you probably want to take a look at this. But I think the other piece of that is we got to find the right people. And so if somebody isn't interested in a smaller school in a smaller town that has great volleyball, then they're not the right fit for us. But I think there's lots who just don't understand what we are. We're a strange animal to understand. Most great volleyball, even in Division III, does not live in tiny towns in schools that are 1,300 students. So we tend to be unique, and we just try to talk with them about that piece of it. Come and see what you think. You might be surprised. And we can compete with the places you're talking to.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, we can compete with the people you're talking to in most cases. And this would be a different animal. This is a place where you're going to get a lot of balance. Your academics are going to come first, and you can let the academics come first and still win national championships and play at a really high level, because here the two things actually work really well together. The way Juniata is set up with our academics actually helps that, because we're done with class at 4 every day, and they can be done with their academic day, shift gears, come here. So that ability to have some balance, to be part of something more than just be a student and be an athlete, but be able to be part of a club or two, do some of those kind of things. And there are more student athlete prospects who want that than people think.
Yeah.
when they start thinking about their life, what is this going to look like in college? I think a lot of them don't want it to be volleyball first all the time. They want to get an education. They want to get a great education. They want to experience college a little bit. And so I think we tend to get people who are really great players and could take a scholarship to many places. But I think they want a little more balance than that.
Yeah.
And they still want to play on a great volleyball team.
Yeah. I was going to ask you this first segment and I forgot to ask it, so I'm going to bring it up now. Wash U has I don't know what they have now, $12 billion endowment.
Yeah, they do.
Johns Hopkins is world renowned for their medical school. Everybody across the country knows Johns Hopkins because they've got such a great medical program. Hope has hosted, I don't know how many years of national championships of different sports and has one of the best gyms in the country. MIT is world renowned for their science and math. You're a small town D3 private college. How in the heck have you done it? How
what we tell people, what we're known for? Volleyball.
Yeah.
Volleyball.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, wait a minute. I'm like, everybody in this town cares about volleyball.
Yeah.
We're going to get top billing on everything.
Yep.
This gym is going to be full. People are going to know you when you stop in at the local sheets. You're going to have people saying, hey, great game last night. You have no idea who they are. That's the allure.
Yeah.
And I think once they get reeled in with the volleyball, they start doing a little homework on the school. And they start realizing, oh, it's a really good school.
Yeah.
A really good academic with that really great academic programs. But undoubtedly, it's the volleyball. And Larry worked his tail off early in the years of this program's existence and made them part of a national conversation that in some ways they had no business being a part of.
Right.
Yeah, I think we wear it like a badge of honor. We used to go to Wash U every year. Back when Terry Clemens was at Wash U, Larry was head coach here. I was his associate head coach. And we would drive to St. Louis in a minibus. And we would stop in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Yeah.
And then on the first leg. And then we would go the rest of the way the next day. We would play Friday night, usually against Wash U in front of a packed crowd. And then we would play 2 on Saturday. And then we would get back in our little minibus and we would drive home through the night. And we wore it like a badge of honor. Like we will do things other people will not do. We are much more hardcore.
Yeah.
And I think we've owned that for years. We're like the little engine that could.
Yeah.
And that's how we function best.
It drives me crazy when coaches plan a Susie Cakes preseason schedule. It just drives me crazy. I wanted my players to play against the best talent we could find because when it got to conference, it's still to this day. If you want to make nationals, you better win your league because there's no guarantees.
No, and especially with things changing, you got to win your conference for sure. But
you got to be ready for those games.
I always say to Mike, we go to these big, beautiful gyms, right? Yeah. And ours is a good gym, right? It's just a good little gym. But we go to these big, beautiful gyms, and I'll just say to our players, you know what the best thing about this gym is? And they're like, what? I'm like, when it's silent while we're playing. And they're like, oh, yeah, coach.
2 questions to finish. Piece of advice for a student athlete that wants to play in college, that wants to get recruited, how to do it. And
be proactive. Be proactive. Do your homework. Look at the places that have what you want to study, because in the end, you got to get a great education. So look for the places that have what you want to study and then be proactive. Reach out to the coaches because you would be surprised. Like names, we start recognizing names. We see them. Oh, next time we go out, we've got to make sure we check this kid out. She's written to us 3 different times now. She's been updating us a ton. Let's see what she looks like. Her video looks good. Let's see her live. So I just think being proactive, but do your homework. I don't think you want to blitz 300 places when 100 of them don't even have the academic interest you're looking for.
That's right. Or you're going to be miserable in the environment you want 4 seasons. You're not going to be happy in Arizona.
Yes. You have to be real with yourself about what it is that you're looking for in those 4 years.
How you learn, man. You don't want a 300 person classroom when you learn better one-on-one with a professor with 14 kids in a student.
Or we always say to people here, if you're looking for nightlife, Huntington is not your place. If you love the outdoors, we're fantastic. But nightlife, there is none.
Yeah. I would have not wanted that at 17, but boy, I would love that right now. I would love that.
We always say the biggest challenge is getting them here. But once they get here, they focus on the right things because there's not all the distractions.
That's right.
We don't have a major city to attract them, but we also don't have a major city to distract them.
That's right. And there's nowhere to go on Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, but
No,
on campus,
no, hang
being with
out with
the
your
people,
friends on campus and they meet
right?
tons of people and they have a good time.
And those kids have the better memories than the kids that live close to Chicago and Detroit and Miami, and because
You know,
they
there's a closeness and a community that builds
yeah,
there. And this place, I know a lot of people, community is kind of a buzzword, right? Oh, we have a
yeah.
great community. What does that mean? Here it means that people will look you right in the eye and say hello to you if they have never seen you before. They
That's
don't
how I
care.
grew up. That's how I grew up. Yeah. Yeah, I get my kids tease me all the time. I wave at everybody and say hi to everybody, and I did parking duty with my kids' school today, and I love giving every kid a high five as they get out of the car, and it brightens their day. So I love that attitude. Same question, but for parents. What's your advice to parents going through the recruiting process? What do you think they need to know?
Help your children be proactive on their own. Don't do it for them. Letters from parents, things from parents, I don't think we'd pay much attention to.
Yeah.
Because in the end, if a coach is recruiting them, you're not going to be there during those 4 years. So encourage your student athletes to be the proactive people reaching out, having the conversation. Yes, on the first phone call when you call, sure, you can be on. You probably have lots of questions of that coach too. That's perfectly fine. Maybe don't be on every conversation, not every call, because I think there is a piece of a student athlete and a coach connecting on a phone call. That student athlete has to be okay communicating with the coach, not the parents. So I think it is really important to let them have a little bit of ownership for it, take some ownership, and do some things on their own through the process, but certainly not all of it. But I think once in a while, let them do their own thing there.
Yeah, parents still need to be parents through this process, but
Sure.
you're the one that's going to be coaching them. They need to learn how to have that conversation with you.
And at a Division III, like Juniata, the parents absolutely are part of the equation because there's a bill to be paid. You're not
That's
talking about a scholarship. And
right.
so they have to be part of the conversation. But there's also a relationship that needs to develop between the student athlete and the coach where the parents aren't part of that, because that's what the 4 years is going to look like. You're going to see the parents maybe every other weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to thank Dr. Jim and Olivia for guilt tripping you to come on. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
I've been trying to get you on for months, so it means the world to me that you did this, and I'm such a big fan. I love watching your teams play. I love
Well, thank
watching.
you.
I was a Division III coach for 12 years, and I know how hard it is to win a game, let alone a conference championship, get to the nationals, to do it 3 times. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing it with your heart, and you're doing it the right way because you're doing it the way you want to do it. And man, it's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That was Juniata head volleyball coach and 3 straight national championship coach, Heather Pavlik. Hearing her perspective on recruiting is really fantastic. She's not just evaluating skills or stats. She's looking for character, accountability, and the willingness to grow. And that's why she wants to see more than just your highlight film. It's the same toughness and compassion she leads with every day in her program, and it's why Juniata Volleyball has become a national powerhouse. If you found this conversation valuable, make sure to subscribe, favorite, and share the podcast. That support keeps us going and helps us to continue to grow this community of athletes, parents, and coaches who want to approach recruiting with purpose. And don't forget, you can find my book, Significant Recruiting, the playbook for prospective college athletes, and the companion book, The Volleyball Recruits Journal, at CoachMattRogers.com. Until next time, stay focused, stay ready, and stay significant.